with you. We're live on the air from the Conservative Political Action Conference. David Bossie with Citizens United. CitizensUnited.org is with me. David, this is a relatively short segment. We have about 5 minutes. I want to get to the biggest issue, which is which has to do with large corporations being able to carpet bomb politics. I don't think either one of us want our political system to be hijacked by anybody, frankly. But you wanted to give some backstory, so let me just give the mic to you.
And I appreciate that, but I did this. I brought this case because the Federal Election Commission told me I could go to prison for being able to make a movie and want people to see it and know about it and educate people that a film exists. So I found that to be a little incredible to me. So I sued the Federal Election Commission, but I went to them first and said, I'd like the media exemption. They said no. I think if they had to do it over again, they probably would give it to me now because they see, obviously, a huge chunk of their authority has been stripped away under this.
Yeah. You're right.
Your average American, every American has their First Amendment rights, free speech rights. You and I, separately and together, have our First Amendment rights.
Well, wait a minute. There's a caveat on that together.
Well, if we file a piece of paper, if you and I are restaurateurs and we open a restaurant together, okay, and it's going to be
and we're asking for special rules under the government's.
Well, hold on. But we're going to open the Thom Day Bar and Grill.
Right.
Okay. To protect our families and our homes and our, the things that we have so that we don't destroy ourselves, we want the corporate protection.
Right, so if we poison somebody and they die, we don't go to jail.
Some hot cup of coffee that in a litigious society, we all know, you get a hot cup of coffee and you sue.
You realize that case on appeal got reduced down to almost nothing.
No, I understand that, but it happens, and that's why you protect yourself. So we together...
So you can do that with insurance, too. You and I could create a partnership isn't a corporate.
You and I both know that the reason you create a corporate entity is to protect you personally.
No. Actually, no. I disagree.
What would be the reasons?
I don't think that the individual stockholders of IBM or Pfizer are trying to protect themselves.
Well, that's 1% of the companies.
But see, that's the problem. And this is where I want to go with this, David.
Sure.
Here, last year. The last 5 years, Stephen Hemsley, the CEO of United Health Insurance Company, United Healthcare, made over $700 million. His predecessor made over $1.7 billion for 10 years' work. In the entire, that's $2 billion between two guys over 10 years.
That's what they made personally?
That's what they made personally.
Goodness.
Yeah, just as a CEO. Think of the kind of profits that means these companies are spinning off.
Sure.
Anthem just announced, or WellPoint just announced a $2.4 billion quarterly 3-month profit at the same time that they're jacking up insurance rates in California by 39%. This company has $2.5 billion in profits. All of the money that was spent on television advertising by John McCain and Barack Obama together. Obama spent about, $600 million? $800 million?
It was $1.2 billion all in. PNC, MoveOn.org, everybody on the left was about 1.2.
1.2, and
on the right was about
600 or 700 million.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So it was less than $2 billion. $2 billion is chump change for the health insurance industry right now. It's chump change for the pharmaceutical industry right now. It's walking around money for the oil industry right now. These large corporations can now say to any politician in America, we will make you, and you will be where you are forever, and when you retire, you'll have a good job with us for millions and millions of dollars a year, or we will destroy you. And they can absolutely make good on that threat. How is that a good thing for America?
Well, let's just start with the very fact that wasn't my intent of why.
I'm not saying it was your intent. But that was the outcome.
But
I'm not blaming you for that. I'm just saying,
look,
what do we do now?
Right.
If you and I agree that that's not a good thing, what do we do?
Yeah, but I believe in more speech, and I believe that the American people are smart enough to understand, and I give the American people credit for being smart enough to know when they're trying to be bought. So I am not afraid of some big evil corporation who's going to run a bunch of 30-second ads before an election.
So you think ads are always truthful?
No, of course not. Look. You have ads by candidates and by organizations and there's plenty of great both liberal and conservative organizations out there who keep everybody straight on that. And the newspaper and the television industry and the radio industry do a good job of educating
But $1 billion,
people.
I mean, would you agree with me that if Barack Obama had spent the same amount as John McCain did on television advertising, that probably McCain would have won the election?
That was it.
Sure, but that's
okay.
But see,
I mean,
but
that is one of the big conservative points, that because Obama spent almost twice as much as McCain on television, he won the election. I'm saying,
but I fight for his right to do that.
But and you're apparently fighting for the right of WellPoint or United Healthcare to do that to a politician.
And the local dry cleaner and the restaurateur and the liquor store and the grocery store.
And I'm saying that once anybody goes to the government and says, we want to create a separate entity from us that protects us from liability.
Yep.
That entity, in my opinion, should not have rights.
But see,
you and I can have the rights.
But see,
Warren Buffett can spend the money.
And the Supreme Court clearly
agreed with you.
Yeah, and disagreed with you.
I know.
And you know, the old theory.
And I'm just amazed you're still defending it. You're saying that that's an okay thing. I'm amazed that you're not saying, hey, listen, there's some problems here. Let's solve these problems.
More speech is better than less speech.
More speech.
Free speech is better than the government.
So let me ask you the question that Greg Palast asked of Ted Olson. Ted Olson is the lawyer who argued this, whose wife died.
My lawyer, yes.
Yeah, your lawyer, whose wife died in 9/11 in one of the airplanes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How much should Al Qaeda Incorporated, U.S., be allowed to contribute to a politician?
Well, I mean, you know the answer. I mean, that's a fictitious setting.
No, it's not a fictitious setting.
But the answer is zero.
In fact, you were saying it just happened. It happened in the Bill Clinton campaign.
But the answer is zero.
But no, you said you're in favor of more speech.
More speech, but that's not by foreigners.
I'm talking about a U.S. corporation called Al Qaeda Incorporated. How much money should they be allowed to contribute to a political campaign?
I think they can spend as much as they want.
Okay. Ted Olson never answered the question.
First, let me just say this. The American people would dismiss that out of hand and not take them seriously.
But if they ran it through the National Association of Manufacturers, the American people would never even know.
Well, you know, there's lots of loopholes and lots of laws.
David Bossie, citizensunited.org. You can read all about it. Thank you, David.